Well, hi everybody. It's great to welcome to this series of The Garage, Wayne Matheson, who is our Assembly Executive Secretary in Wellington, and also Gordon Fitch, who is the head of Mission Resourcing Team. So welcome, guys.
Hey. Hi, good to see you, Al.
Good to see you too, although I'm a bit envious. Your background looks way more comfortable than mine, but
Yeah, we have a really fancy garage up here in Wellington.
yeah, nice. That's
It's
cool.
Wayne's garage, not mine.
Awesome. Hey, so Wayne, how about you kick us off? Tell me, what is an Assembly Executive Secretary, and what do you do?
Hey, Daryl, that's a great question. I think if I knew the answer to that, no, seriously. Daryl, the Assembly Executive Secretary is in some ways a bit like the General Manager. Is that I'm accountable to the Council of Assembly, and I have various areas of responsibility in the life of our church together. I head our staffing team, which is made up of staff from Auckland all the way through to Dunedin. I'm the person that ultimately employs them, and through our various systems reports to the council about how we're doing in that particular space. I fulfill key administrative and management and executive functions on behalf of the church. I have the privilege of leading our core leadership team, which is made up of Gordon and Sandra Kennelly and myself at the moment. I work closely with our moderator and the convener of the Council Assembly to ensure that all the things that we need to be about, we're about. How's that for a kickoff?
That's a great kickoff. She's a pretty big job.
Yeah, it's I like that. I've seen that in some of your emails as well, Daryl. Yeah, yes, it is, but it's a very privileged role. I get to see us when we're at our best, and boy, when we're at our best, we are really great.
Nice.
I also get to see us when we're at our worst, and that's not a pretty sight. But I would want to emphasise that when we're doing our job well, up and down the country, joining God and God's mission, we're a sight to behold.
Nice, thank you. Hey, so Gordon, same kind of question for you, head of the Mission Resource Team. Tell us about that.
Yeah, that's a part-time role. I've got a couple of roles here in the national office. The one I spend 3 days a week on is actually in the youth ministry department, working alongside Matt Chamberlain, working alongside closely with the youth ministry enablers in all the presbyteries as well. And the role of the youth ministry department would be to, like lots of departments, is to resource, to train, and to support the staff in the congregations, the people engaged in youth ministry. The mission resourcing role, our church has a good number of departments that are all kind of focused, on resourcing mission. And so my role is to kind of help the people in those roles to be working together, to be aligned, to be collaborating together, to help with the sort of general communication, so we're all working in the same way. So that would include Presco, that would include Global Mission, church schools, children's and families, and of course the youth department.
Fantastic. Thank you. So, Wayne, back to you. What question have you got at the moment?
Okay, I've been giving some thought to that, Daryl, and I think I've probably got a couple of questions, and one sort of flows from the other. I think the first question that I'm living with these days is, what is the Spirit saying to the church? I think that in times like this, we can listen to all sorts of other voices, but I wonder if we're listening to what God might be saying. And so that's the first question. And then I find myself in the light of that with a follow-up question, is very much in following along as Samuel was feeling called by God, and when he was exploring that, is that he found himself asking, "Speak, Lord, for your servant is listening." And I think that's the follow-up question. One is to ask, what is the Spirit saying to the church? But actually, do we then put that question aside and quickly run to the answer? Or do we actually create space to actually ask, "Speak, Lord, for your servant is listening"? So those are my questions.
Yeah, great questions. Gordon.
I think for me, a similar sort of vein, I guess, questions like, and I guess it's questions I've always asked as a youth leader throughout my life, what's God up to? How can we be joining God in his mission? Very aware in the last couple of months, we've been turned upside down as a church. We've been almost kind of been having a bit of IT professional development. I just kind of wonder, in the midst of this, are we about to experience some sort of IT reformation, some sort of revolution that kind of happens in the church? Almost kind of like how it was back in the day with the printing press. Are we about to have that sort of Netflix moment? When people switch from going down to their local video store to rent videos and take them home to watch, but now choosing to use Netflix and just watch it directly. Nothing really changed. The people who loved the movies, wanted to watch the latest films that are out, but can do it more conveniently now, without the hassle of having to rewind VHS or get billed or have to travel down to the video store. So I kind of wonder, the same way in that situation, Netflix kind of figured out it's all about the movies. What does that mean for the church? At core, what are we about? And I guess as we kind of think about, how we join God in that, kind of noting for the last several hundred years, I guess, or centuries, as a church, we've kind of had a strategy of, having ministers and manses in neighborhoods and saying that's your mission field. And I wonder in this IT world, as we're interconnected across the planet, if actually that's going to change a little bit. Does an IT reformation mean that actually as churches we break borders, and so as people and congregations around our country, we actually engage wider than just our own parish? And does that mean as a church, rather than just resourcing local parishes, actually we need to start thinking about online ministry as something that we actually say, this is something we need to be thinking about for the whole country, even globally? I think there's some really interesting opportunities here to be joining God in his mission.
Fantastic. Thanks, both of you. I'm really encouraged by the questions you're asking. Part of the reason to have you on the Garage series is that, given your roles, you're often names on correspondence, and I know you, and I wanted our people in Alpine to get a glimpse of the people you are and the way you're thinking. And so I really appreciate those reflections. And you do have massive roles. And so thank you for all you do in serving us and serving the wider church and participating with God. So we're really grateful. So thank you. And one final thing, I'm very aware that both of you will be anticipating the English Premier League starting again soon, both being passionate Liverpool supporters. Are you worried at all, or do you think you're going to be okay?
This is a great year.
Yeah, we'll be fine.
Hey, so you're finally saying this is our year. You're actually saying that.
This is our year.
Fantastic. Thanks, guys.
All right, take care, Daryl.
Hey, thanks, Daryl. See ya.